Well, it's grown into becoming the biggest civil society media initiative in Tanzania and probably in East Africa. That is a media platform reaching out to young people and communities across Tanzania with information about a series of issues. We started off with health, but work also now a lot with entrepreneurship, financial education, citizen engagement. So basically, it's a publishing house. It's a media house, you could say. We produce television programs. We do 2 print magazines. We do radio. We also work a lot now on mobile messaging. And this initiative started already 12 years ago when I was working in Tanzania and realized that there was a dearth of possibilities to reach out to people in the rural areas with information, and that the right to information was not being met. People were not being informed and educated about things that concern their everyday livelihoods and lifestyles. And I was very engaged at that time in the health and HIV prevention, sexual health, family planning arena. So we started off by thinking, how can we produce popular media using basically people's own stories to talk about issues relating to those topics that built on their own experiences, their own life situations. So we started going out into the field with digital cameras and laptops and collecting stories. And people started telling their stories, and they were excited because in Tanzania until that time, very few had actually focused on ordinary people's stories. Most of the media content was very top-down. It was, political leaders speaking up. So what we wanted to do was create a voice initiative, from the bottom up, giving voice, giving the opportunity for ordinary people to speak up and tell their stories and start, entering into a conversation. And this is what happened, and it really took off. We started off 12 years ago, very small, and today we are, we're working with a series of different media, like I mentioned. Our print media, FEMA, which has been one of the core products, reaches out to nearly all the secondary schools in the country and about 300 NGOs. So basically the media platform today reaches 10 million out of 40 million people. And we have built a very powerful brand that people associate with and identify with and want to be part of. We call it the FEMA brand and the FEMA family. And basically the strength of the brand is this, that it's given people an opportunity to speak up. One of the things that they started expressing views about many years ago was that, listen, it's great that you talk about sex and health, but we need jobs and money. And we were a little bit at loss as to how to tackle this. So while we had for many years been very involved in just launching this media platform and getting it out there and building it, we started being also invited to international fora like the Tällberg. And that is actually how our story, our conversation, you could say, entered into a new level, namely that we were invited to Tällberg and started telling our story here and meeting people that had similar stories or other stories and discussing with them how we could work together, etc., to solve some of these challenges. Particularly, I think, as inspiring for us was thinking around how we could take on board our media platform the whole issue of nature conservation, the environmental issues, the climate change issues, but in a way tackling it through what was relevant for young people, namely jobs, so thereby green jobs. So the Rework the World initiative, for instance, was very inspiring for us. And the Rework the World initiative, which Tällberg staged together with the Yes initiative, also organized a series of workshops and events where different parties came together to converse about these issues, also in the region. And FEMINA HIP, we helped organize the Dar es Salaam meeting. And that was for us a real eye-opener also to other partners in our own community that we hadn't really, known of or been in contact with. So, we launched this agenda then, also in dialogue with some of the partners that we met through the Tällberg We Work For Us, about, changing mindsets around entrepreneurship. So one of the things that we've done during the last year is that we have staged a huge television competition, which has also been mainstreamed through all our other media, which is basically, we traveled around the country and identified 6 young entrepreneurs under the age of 30, and selected 6 of those, 3 women and 3 men, who then participated in a television, you could say, competition. And that, by the way, that competition, we were inspired 2 or 3 years ago by something we saw here. There was a similar group from Afghanistan, remember, who had done something similar there. We came back to Tanzania and said, let's see if we could do something like that here. It's been a huge success. And basically, it's been about showcasing, how to initiate your own businesses, how to know your market, how to access financing, if not from banks, from agriculture, for instance, where you can, gain credit, etc. Students, for instance, in schools, there's no light in schools, so students are studying with kerosene lamps under the mosquito nets, and we've had a couple of disastrous fires in Tanzania where, the girls have been locked in and burnt, injured by terrible fires because of kerosene, and we know that kerosene is also very polluting. And so we basically got together with one of the partners that we met at Tällberg, namely D-Light, and launched a big campaign to educate people about solar lamps, about solar energy, and the asset, because the knowledge is not very widespread in Tanzania. And so we had this education campaign that we managed to get some support for. And then actually during the last year, we have also sold on a special offer, together with D-Light, the lamps to schools through headmasters. And in the span of 4 months, we were able to sell something like 50,000 solar lamps to schools. So, you could say that our media platform, which has really grown from being quite small to, a definite actor, on the scene in Tanzania, reaching out to huge populations, young people in communities, has taken on, new agendas, not just health, but also now increasingly mindset change around entrepreneurship and how to make your money work for you through savings and other ways of gaining credit, agriculture being one, and then also working more with alternative sources of energy, educating young people about solar lamps, how these can be used, etc. And people are really picking up on this. So we have a lot of new initiatives, sort of lined up. And I must say that for us, the coming to Tällberg and participating in the conversation here, and taking our local level conversation up to a global level, and also getting response, people saying to us, oh, that's interesting, or maybe we could do something similar in our country, and us saying sort of like, oh yeah, maybe it is interesting, because when you're so engrossed in doing your day-to-day work, you don't often have the time to lift, and get new perspectives and get that sort of bird's eye overview. And it's very inspiring to do that. It's very inspiring. It's inspiring to meet people with other experiences and to share and find common solutions. So that's what Tällberg has done to us, and I'm very grateful.